Today on Granworks, I finished building this Japanese-inspired sandbox with a cover. Stay tuned. My overarching goal for the sandbox cover was to make it from scrap 2x material I had left over from other projects or demolition or deconstruction I had done in the past. I wanted the slats to be 5/8 inch thick, so that meant resawing everything. The majority of the boards were in very rough shape and had uneven thicknesses, so I ran them all through the planer until they were roughly uniform. So much sawdust. I didn't want to use any physical fasteners on the cover, so that meant half-lap joinery for the frame. Really loving my adjustable crosscut sled right about now. The slats are all attached using biscuits. I experimented with the biscuit strength earlier and posted a video of the results. In short, the biscuits proved easily strong enough for my purposes to not require using pocket hole screws or other more traditional joinery like mortise and tenons. Assembling each slatted section was mildly nerve-wracking since there were so many individual biscuits and such a limited time to complete the assembly before the glue dried. A slow-drying glue would definitely have helped in this case. Next up is assembling each half of the cover by gluing two slatted sections to the horizontal frames. I mentioned before how much I hated painting, right? Well, priming and then painting these covers with so many tiny nooks and crannies tested my patience to the tipping point. I finally bought an HVLP sprayer. Woohoo! My spray booth is just one of the side rooms of my barn that I taped up some poly. The sprayer is glorious. I can't believe I waited so many years to buy one. I wanted the covers well supported, and so I got a full-length piano hinge. The original idea was for the hinge to be hidden on the underside of the cover and sandbox seat. Unfortunately, I neglected to measure everything properly, and the hinge simply wouldn't fit that way without overhanging the edge by about half of its width. So the cover hinge is more visible than I planned, but it's all okay. I've been dying to try out magnets on a project and figured that securing the cover in place during use was a good fit for that. The cover has a metal disc made up of a clipped off roofing nail and a fender washer epoxied in place. The magnets are then attached to the post. I started by drilling a hole using a Forstner bit and then used epoxy to permanently attach the magnets. The final planned step was to filter all the old sand through a mesh to get rid of any kitty droppings and bigger rocks. That actually worked very well. In theory, this was the end and the sandbox was ready for use. But no, this was actually the start of a series of fixes that popped up during use. The first problem was that the cover massively slumped in the middle, so much that the seats on each side pulled up from the frame. Step 1 in fixing this was to apply more glue and then use some 3-inch long screws to permanently secure this down in case the glue didn't work, since it didn't the first time. That didn't solve the notable sagging though, so I got a piece of aluminum angle to firm up the middle. I countersunk the screws to be flush, and then attached one piece to each side, making sure that the cover was straight while I worked on it. This actually helped quite a bit, even weeks later, and honestly, I'm really liking the look too. The magnets I used proved to be too weak, unfortunately, and the covers actually fell down on the kids playing in the sandbox a couple times. So I ordered some much beefier magnets online. You gotta be careful working with these. My attention lapsed for a split second too long and 2 of them snapped together with my skin pinched between them. Lots of blood, and it was a pain to separate them afterwards. I attached the new magnets over the old ones using this new Loctite universal glue instead of epoxy, just because. So far so good. And that's it. The sandbox is done. So all in all, I'm pretty happy with this build. It did take far longer than I wanted it to, on the tune of maybe 3 or 4 months, I forget. But the end result is I did learn quite a bit as I went. I purposely did this project in such a way that it kind of exceeded my comfort zone in a lot of areas, and it definitely did do that. And I do like the final look of it in the end. And maybe the most important metric for all this was, how well is it liked by the people using it? That would be my son, his friends, my nieces, nephews. Well, it's a huge hit with all of them. So as far as I'm concerned, this is a success, if only from that metric alone. If you like this video,
then I have others on my channel that are like this, and more will be coming. Consider subscribing, consider hitting like on it, and as always, thanks for watching.